So, hey guys, what's up? And welcome back to the channel JK World 035. And we are back with the series of book reading, The Psychology of Money. So, today's episode 15, and the topic is You Will Change. Long term planning is harder than it seems because people's goal and desired change over time. So, let's read. I grew up with a friend who come from neither privilege nor natural intellect but was the hardest working guy I knew. These people have a lot of lot to reach because they have an unfiltered understanding of every inch of the road to success. His life mission and dream as a teenager was to be a doctor. To say the odds were stacked against him is being charitable. No reasonable person at the time would consider it a possibility. But he pushed and a decade older than his classmate, he eventually became a doctor. How much fulfillment comes from starting from nothing, bulldozing your way to the top of medical school and achieving one of the most noble performance against all odds. I spoke to him a few years ago. The conversation went like this. Me, long time no talk. Do? How you doing? Him, harmful career. Me, ha ha ha. Well, so him, awesomeful career man. This went on for 10 minutes. The stress and hours had worn him into the ground. He seemed as disappointed in where he is today as he was driven towards where he wanted to be 15 years ago. And underplanning of psychology is that people are poor forecasters of their future. Civils imagining a goal is easy and fun. Imagining a goal in the context of the realistic life stresses that grow with competitive pursuits is something entirely different. This has a big impact on our ability to plan for future financial goals. Every 5 years old boy wants to drive a tractor when he grew up. Few jobs look better in the eyes of a young boy whose idea of a good job begins and ends with vroom, 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 beep, beep, big doctor, here I come. Then many grow up and realize that driving a tractor maybe isn't the best career. Maybe they want something more prestigious or lucrative. So, as a teenager, they dream of being a lawyer. Now they think they know their plan is set. Law school and its cost, here we come. Then, as a lawyer, they face such long working hours that they rarely see their family. So, perhaps they take a lower paying job with flexible hours. Then they realize that childcare is so expensive that it consumes most of their paychecks, and they OPT to be a stay-at-home parent. This, they conclude, is finally the right choice. Then at age 70, they realize that a lifetime of staying home means they are unprepared to afford retirement. Many of us have wind through life on a similar trajectory. Only 70% of college grade have a job related to their major, according to the Federal Reserve. 29% of stay-at-home parents have a college degree. Few like regret their education, of course, but we should acknowledge that a new Parents in their 30s may think about life goals in a way the 18-year-old self-making career goals would never imagine. Long-term financial planning is essential, but things change both the world around you and your own goals and desire. It is one thing to say we don't know what the future holds. It's another to admit that you yourself don't know today what you will even want in the future, and the truth is few of us do. It's hard to make enduring long-term decisions when your view of what you will want in the future is likely to shift. The end of history illusion is what psychologists call the tendency for people to be nearly aware of how much they will change in the past, but to underestimate how much their personali- personalized desire and goals are likely to change in the future. Hardware psychologist Daniel Gilbert once said, "At every stage of our lives, we make decisions that will profoundly influenced the lives of the people we were going to become, and then when we become those people, we are not always thrilled with the decisions we made. So young people pay good money to get tattoos removed, and teenagers paid good money to be middle-aged. People rushed to divorce. People who young adult rushed to marry. Older adults work hard to lose what middle-aged adults work hard to gain, on and on and all of us, he said, are walking around with an illusion that history, our personal history, has just come to an end, that we have just recently become the people that we were always meant to be and will be for the rest of our lives. We tend to never learn this lesson. Gilbert research shows people from age 18 to at 68 underestimate how much they will change in the future. You can see how this can impact a long-term financial plan. Charles Munger says the first rule of compounding is to never interrupt it unnecessarily. But how do you not interrupt a money plan? Career investments, spending, budgeting, whatever, when what you want out of life changes. It's hard part of the reason people like Ronald Reed, the wealthy junior we made earlier in the book, and Warner Buffett become a successful in biz because they kept doing the same thing for decades on end, letting compounding run wild. But many of us evolve so much over a time, like over a lifetime, that we don't want to keep doing that the same thing for decades on end or anything close to it. So rather than 180 something year lifespan, our money has perhaps four distinct 20 years blocks. I know young people who purposefully live Astor lives with little income and they are perfectly happy with it. Then there are those who work their tails off to pay for a life of luxury and they are perfectly happy with that. Both have risk. The former risk being unprepared to raise a family or fund retirement. The latter risk regret that you spend your youthful and healthy years in a cubicle. There is no easy solution to this problem. Tell a few years old boy he should be a lawyer instead of a tractor driver, and he will disagree with every cell in his body. But there are two things to keep in mind what making what you think are long term decisions. We should avoid the extreme ends of financial planning, assuming you will be happy with a very low income or choosing to work endless in pursuit of a high one, increasing the odds that you will one day find yourself at a point of regret. The fuel of the end of history illusion is that people adapt to most circumstances so that benefits of an extreme plan, that simplicity of having hardly anything, or the thrill of having almost everything wear off bad. The downside of those extremes, not being able to afford retirement or looking back at a life spent devoted to chasing dollars, become enduring regret, especially painful when you are abandoned a previous plan and feel like you have to run in the other direction twice as fast to make up for lost time. Compounding works best when you can give a plan years or decades to grow. This is true for not only saving but career and relationship endurance is key. That and when you consider our tendency to change who we are over time, balance at every point in your life become a strategy to avoid future regrets and encourage endurance. Aiming at every point in your working life to have moderate annual saving, moderate free time, no more than a moderate commute, and at least moderate time with your family, increasing the odds of being able to stick with a plan and avoid regret. Then, if any one of those things fall to the extreme side of the spectrum, we should also come to accept the reality of changing our mind. Some of the most miserable workers I will meet are people who stay loyal to a career only because it's the field they picked when deciding on a college major at age 18. When you accept the end of history illusion, you realize that the odds of picking a job when you are not old enough to drink that you will still enjoy when you are old enough to qualify for social security are low. The trick is to accept the reality of changes and move on as soon as possible. Johnson Swing, the Wall Street Journal investment columnist, worked with psychologist Daniel Kahneman on writing Kahneman's book Thinking Fast and Slow Swing. Swing once told a story about a personality quaker of Kahneman's that served him well. Nothing amazed me more about Danny than his ability to de- detonate what we had just done. Ring wrote he and Kahneman could walk endlessly on a chapter, but the next thing you know, Kahneman sends a version so utterly transformed that is unrecognizable. It begins differently, it ends differently in incorporate anecdotes and evidence you never would have throw of it, draw on research that you will never hear of. When I asked Danny how he could start again as if he had never written an earlier draft, Swing continued, he said the words I will never forgotten. I have no sunk cost. Sunk costs ensuring decision to past efforts that can't be refunded are a devil in a world where people change over time. They make our future selves prisoners to our past different selves. It's the equivalent of a stranger making major like decision for you, embracing the idea that financial goals make when you where a different person should be abandoned without mercy versus put on life support and dragged on can be a good strategy. to minimize future regret. The quicker it's done, the sooner you can get back to compounding. So next, let's talk about compounding price of admission. So that's it. Today's chapter, the psychology of money.